Lesson 28, the normal probability distribution. Example 5. IQ scores are normally distributed with a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15. Find the narrowest interval for IQ scores such that 90% of the people in the population have an IQ score that falls within it. Well, here we know that IQ scores are normally distributed with a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15. Thus, we can use the normal probability distribution to address this question, using mu equal to 100 and sigma equal to 15. Now the question is to find the narrowest interval for IQ scores such that 90% of the people in the population have an IQ score that falls within it. Well, the narrowest interval is the range of values from some lower limit number L up to some upper limit number U, which is symmetric about the mean, such that 90% of this normal distribution of IQ scores contains 90% of all the people's IQ scores between it. Well, in this case, we're given the certain percentage, 90% fall within this range of values from L to U, and then we need to work to find the corresponding value or IQ score. To work from a percentage to the corresponding data value, we need to use the inverse norm command. And since an interval has two values, L and U, we have to use the inverse norm command twice. Once to find the lower limit value, L, and a second time to find the upper limit value, U. Now the inverse norm command on the TI-84 calculator requires the input of three values. The first value, the k over 100, where k represents the percentile. So the first value we enter is based on the percentile, or the percentage of the normal distribution that is less than the particular value we seek. So starting with L, the lower limit, the first value we enter into the inverse norm command is the percentage of this bell-shaped curve that is less than that L number. That is just this lower value here. We don't know what that value is yet. All we're told is that 90% fall within the interval from L to U. So we need to do some reasoning here. We know that the entire bell-shaped curve accounts for 100% of the IQ scores. So if 90% fall within the interval from L to U, the remaining 100 minus 90%, or 10%, fall outside the interval. And in order to get the narrowest interval, that is the interval that has the L and U that are as closest as they can be, but still have 90% fall within it, it needs to be symmetric about the mean. That is, we get the same percentage that will be below this interval as will be above that interval. So if we equally split this 10% in half into 5 and 5%, we'll get the outside percentages. So there's 90% that fall within the interval, and the outside 5% falls below the interval, and the other 5% falls above the interval. So now we know that L, the lower limit of this interval, falls at the 5th percentile. That is, 5% of IQ scores are less than it. So the first value we enter into the inverse norm command is that percentile, k over 100. In this case, it would be the 5 over 100. Or we can enter it in decimal form. 5% would be 0.05 in decimal. The last two numbers that are entered in the inverse norm command are the mean and standard deviation. So mu sub x was 100, and sigma sub x was 15. So entering this inverse norm command in the TI-84 calculator will give us L, the lower limit of the interval we seek. Now we need to find U, the upper limit of this interval. Again, the inverse norm command requires three values to be inputted. The first value is the percentile, that is the percentage of this normal bell-shaped curve that is less than this value we seek. So U, the upper limit, has the entire middle 90% less than it, and also this lower 5% less than it. So U falls at the 5 plus 90, or 95th percentile. Thus, we have to enter in the 95 divided by 100. The second two numbers that we enter into the inverse norm command is the mean, which was 100, and the standard deviation, which is 15. So now we can go to the TI-84 calculator and figure out the results. The inverse norm command is found by going second, distr, arrow down to inverse norm, press enter to select. For the lower limit, we had 5 divided by 100. comma, 100 for the mean, comma, 15 for the standard deviation. Parenthesis, enter, and we get about 75.3. For U, we go inverse norm by pressing second, DISTR, arrow down till we get to inverse norm, and then we type in the 95, divide by 100, comma, mu was 100, comma, sigma was 15. Close parenthesis. Enter. Here we get a value of about 124.7. Thus, the lower limit on the interval rounds off to about 75.3, and the upper limit, U, rounds off to about 124.7. So, here is our result. 90% of IQ scores in the general population fall within the interval from 75.3 up to 124.7. Now, following the convention that IQ scores for individuals are typically represented as whole number values, we can round off the 75.3 to about 75, and we could round off the 124.7 to about 125, and give the following answer. Thus, the narrowest interval for IQ scores, such that 90% of the people in the population have an IQ score that falls within it, ranges from a low of about 75 up to a high of around 125.